is 84 degrees, but it's hot. It's muggy. Humidity 52%, cloudy. We hope the cloud cover stays because it was baking down there on the field before today's game. Sean Payton, Sean McVay going at it head-to-head for the 4th time. And the Saints will start at their 25. For more on the Saints and their frame of mind in this NFC Championship game rematch, down to Erin Andrews.
Yeah, all week long, Saints players having to answer the question, how'd you get past last year's NFC Championship loss? Drew Brees telling me, because you have to. He said it was the most devastating outcome of his career, and it still stings. But he said, I look at the way our team was able to use what happened to us against Minnesota in the playoffs 2 years ago. We were better, and we hope that happens again. He said, our team has been together for a while. We're good. Let's see how it motivates us.
What are they going to do as they start their day at the 25? They hand to Kamara. Well played. And it looked like Sebastian Joseph Day, the big man in the middle, was there for the stop. What do you want to talk about with Drew Brees? How about that he's the career passing yardage leader, most all time, knocking on the door of 75,000 pass yards in his career for the 12-time Pro Bowl quarterback. He's been a Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's been an NFL Comeback Player of the Year. He's won a Super Bowl. Done about all you can do. Here is a handoff to Murray, and Latavius Murray in his first year with the Saints gets 2 here. The 3rd down coming up as Bryce Hager makes the stop.
Well, you look at this offense and some of their rankings, and only 2 new starters on that offensive group from the one that made it to the NFC Championship game a year ago. And Eric McCoy, of course, the rookie there in the middle. Thought he played very well in his first NFL start last week.
3rd down and 6. Brees protected. Pass is juggled and caught for the 1st down. That's Tre'Quan Smith. We were told just before the game that Keith Kirkwood, backup receiver, hurt his hamstring during the pregame warm-up. He is out for the day.
Well, the first 3rd down, Wade Phillips elects to go with man coverage. They did not match up well when they went to man coverage in that regular season game. Gave up over 480 yards of offense. There on the first 3rd down, they do. Tre'Quan Smith able to secure the catch.
Murray. By the way, how do you win in the NFL? You have a quarterback who's good on 3rd down. And that's what Drew Brees was a week ago. In that Monday night win against Houston, went 8 for 9 on 3rd down, a quarterback rating of 155.8. He completed on 3rd and 6 a moment ago. And here's a look at the 3-4 defense for LA.
Well, this Rams defense, they struggled a year ago stopping the run. They had another tough time on Sunday against Carolina. New Orleans, 3 of the first 4 plays, running plays.
Brees, Cook in the air, and looks like it's picked. It is Rams football as John Johnson comes away with it. Good throw by Brees. Cook had it knocked out, and it's the new Ram, Eric Weddle, who separated the ball from Cook, and the Rams get an early takeaway.
Game is sponsored by Untuck It, shirts designed to be worn untucked.
Eric Weddle delivered the hit. John Johnson on his back was there for the interception, and it was Johnson who had the overtime interception last year in the NFC Championship. It led to the game-winning field goal. Here's that play a moment ago.
Yeah, Eric Weddle, he's the middle safety. Drew Brees cannot believe that this ball was intercepted. Cook does a good job of throttling it down in the zone. The ball is on him, but he's just unable to secure the catch. John Johnson was on the ground. The ball falls right into his lap. He led this team with 4 interceptions a year ago. I don't know that any of them are going to come any easier than that one.
They fake it to Gurley. Now throw it to Gurley, and nobody there except Demario Davis. A huge ad a year ago. He led the Saints in tackles, and this is a loss of 6. They love him. An emotional leader on their defense. Let's go back to the interception again.
There's a look. Hager had a chance at it there, and then John Johnson, he's on top of Cook. he's able to find the football. This is a Rams defense that gave up a lot of yards a year ago. They thrived on taking the ball away, and that continued in week 1 against Carolina, and again here this afternoon.
Goff, good protection in the pass off the right hand of Cooper Kupp. Jared Goff is a 2-time Pro Bowler. #1 overall pick out of Cal in 2016. He has been everything they hoped he would be when they brought him to combine with Sean McVay to resurrect this franchise on their move out west.
Yeah, he's a special player. He got rewarded in the offseason, signed a big contract, and him and Sean McVay have made one heck of a pair. You know, he certainly has benefited, but don't discount what Goff means to this offense.
They're down in 16, airing it out. Cooks downfield is there for the catch. Just outside the 10 with Lattimore in coverage, and the throw could not have been any better from Goff.
Protection was outstanding. The delivery of this football cannot be any better. Brandon Cooks, he turns on the jets. He's a hard man to run with. Goff drops this one right out of the sky. That's a great job of tracking the deep ball by Cooks. And this Saints defense gave up a lot of big plays on Monday night. The Rams passing game, a little slow. And that win over Carolina, off to a great start.
About 57 yards on 3rd and 16. And now, after that big play, they're late getting to the line and have to use a timeout. Which allows everybody to catch their breath. Big play Rams, and we'll be right back after this from Geico. First down for LA. Goff has started 2 for 3. Ball is sitting at the 11. The handoff is to Gurley. And Todd Gurley, who has one of the most talked about left knees in all of the NFL, wondering just how healthy he is after losing confidence, losing carries, losing yardage down the stretch. Not much of a factor in the Super Bowl. Almost got to 100 yards in week 1. We're wondering how that left knee is holding up. He tore that ACL in college. Going to throw a flag, and we'll see who it's against on the 2nd down play.
Neutral zone infraction, number 93. Defense, half the distance to the goal. Still 2nd down.
David Onyemata.
There's a look at Dennis Allen. We visited with him the other day. He said that, hey, when you look at this Rams offense, when they're rolling, they're getting big chunk plays. The entire focus coming into this game was not to give up the big play. Like I said, something they were unable to do the other night against the Houston Texans. And here we are, the 3rd play of the game, 57-yarder to Brandon Cooks. They'll start drawing a little more attention in some of that coverage going forward.
Goff has all day out of the back of the end zone. And a flag. The flag comes in after the pass went out of the back of the end zone.
Got clear on the other side of the end zone from where Goff threw it. I believe maybe it's a defensive hold.
An eligible receiver, number 55 of the offense, was downfield. That's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
That's Brian Allen, one of 2 new starters to slide in, replacing John Sullivan. He's the center.
And he's right in the middle. Let's take a look at him. There would be no reason. Yeah, he got up and just continued to drift. Can't be more than a yard from the line of scrimmage. So good job by the officials picking that up.
2nd down, pass is behind and caught by Everett. Tackles made by P.J. Williams. It'll be 3rd down with the ball at the 6, a gain of 2.
These are big possessions down in here. Obviously, the Rams get the big play to get down to this end of the field, and who can prevail, who can make the stops here in the red zone. When you look at a game like this, 2 explosive offenses, you kind of get the idea that those that are the team that's more efficient in the red zone coming away with touchdowns is going to be the one that wins.
Rams were 3 of 4 down here last week. Long way to go for Everett. That play had no chance, and it's well played by the Saints on defense. It'll bring up 4th down.
Not often when I'll say I'm not real crazy about an offensive call by Sean McVay, but this I didn't like. You're right. There was just no opportunity, outnumbered right from the beginning. That's a great job by this New Orleans defense. Yeah, they gave up a big play, but to hold the Rams to 3, that's a great job.
It'll be a 24-yard field goal attempt by Greg Zuerlein. One of the unsung heroes in that NFC Championship game win in New Orleans last January, and the Rams take that interception and turn it into 3 points. Interception, John Johnson, 57 yards, Brandon Cooks. Good work by the Saints defense, Rams up 3.
Today's game is sponsored by Sprint. Switch today.
It's a family affair with the Phillips family in the NFL. The great Bum Phillips, his son Wade, in the cowboy hat and jacket, and then Wade paid tribute to his dad by wearing his dad's coat at the Super Bowl last season when his defense did a real good job against the New England Patriots, Tom Brady and company, but ended up suffering the loss.
Defense all year really struggled, but when they got into the postseason, all 3 of those playoff games for the Rams, they played great defense.
So the Rams won the coin toss. They deferred. That's why the Saints started with the ball, and that first possession ended with the interception. So the Rams will get the ball to start the second half. They get 3 points on their opening possession, and now second chance for Drew Brees and company. Again, starting on their 25.
I'm sure Drew Brees has been over there on the sideline still asking himself how that ball got intercepted. You won't find a more open guy. You know, that type of throw to then, one thing incomplete, but a turnover.
Brees to his right, pass is caught. That's Michael Thomas. He got the big contract. See, he's worth it. NFL best 125 catches a year ago.
Then he comes out on Monday night, catches 10 more for 120-something yards, and that's just a good job by him. Understanding where the hole is within the zone. Brees is able to buy a little time. Not a guy who runs much, but certainly can navigate a pocket. It's nice when you got receivers who kind of see it the same way you do, and Michael Thomas certainly does.
On first down, quick setup and throw, and there he is again at the 49. Corey Littleton, who had the game of a lifetime last week in Carolina with a forced fumble recovery, 14 tackles, 2 passes defended, and an interception. He was there to make the stop.
Yeah, he had a big day. Dante Fowler had a big day last week, and I think there's some moves on that defensive side of the ball. Primarily a guy like Eric Weddle. We already saw his impact on that previous possession, but he's a guy who definitely improves this unit.
Here's a play by Donald as Murray spins out of there, and Clay Matthews, a longtime Green Bay Packer, there to clean up a loss of 3, but Donald got through fast.
Yeah, you start running some of these zone blocking schemes, and then you try to figure out, okay, well, how are you going to be able to handle a guy like Aaron Donald? And he finds just the smallest of spaces, and he's able to get in the backfield. I thought last week, even though he didn't have a sack, there would be a tendency to say, well, his impact, wasn't all that much, and that would be wrong. I mean, every week you watch him, he is a force, whether he's getting to the quarterback and creating the sacks or not.
3rd down and 8. Brees over the middle for Cook, incomplete. Pressure by Aaron Donald. That forced the early throw, and now will force a punt.
Yeah, it's Aaron Donald once again. He's the guy who forces Drew Brees to get the ball out. This time, Andrus Peat. See how quick he is and how explosive he is. That's hard. And Donald has always gotten off to slow starts, it seems, with sacks. Last year, he didn't get his first sack until the 4th game of the season. He ended it with the league-leading 20.5 sacks for the year. So they come in bunches for him when they happen.
Morstead hits a low line drive punt. JoJo Natson with a fair catch back near his 8. 46-yard punt. Brees back to the bench, checking the grip. 3-0 LA.
Today's game is sponsored by the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Next Level Power. And by Bud Light, reminding you to keep it crisp responsibly.
Drew Brees has been healthy, to say the least, in his time with the New Orleans Saints. He's missed 1 game due to injury in 13+ years, and he banged his passing hand into the right hand of Aaron Donald a moment ago.
I've done that many times. It can certainly impact his throwing depending on the severity of it and how many times he's done that prior over the course of his career. It doesn't take much if you've done that a few times.
This is Woods. Apple on the stop. This offense put up 349 yards at Carolina. There are their ranks from a year ago. Noteboom is new at guard. Roger Saffold's in Tennessee. Allen new at center. Woods and Cooks, the top 2 wideouts, and Kupp, a big piece of the puzzle. Over the middle, passes through the hands of Brandon Cooks. 3rd down and 1 against this Saints defense that racked up 6 sacks on Monday night against the Texans. They had 49 a year ago. That was 3rd most in the NFL. And that's how they stack up front. The linebackers, Anzalone is underrated in the middle. And then their secondary.
Well, they can thank Drew Brees for being 1-0. Because that defense, especially there at the end, to give up the lead on 2 plays. Can't remember the last time the Saints started a season playing good defense.
Here's Gurley. Looked like he pushed the pile forward enough, and he did, for a 1st down for the Rams with Von Bell in on the stop. Gurley's tired of hearing questions about his left knee. But after having a monster regular season last year, he missed the last couple of games. C.J. Anderson kind of took over. Didn't play week 16 and 17 against the Cowboys. Had a 115 rush yard day in the playoffs, but only 10 yards at New Orleans. 10 for 35 against the Patriots in Super Bowl 53. Gurley stood up. Aaron, what do you know about Drew Brees?
Well, he came over to the sideline and he tried to throw a few passes to Michael Thomas. And then, as you can imagine, trainers and doctors were surrounding him. He's over on the bench now. They just got done wrapping up that right hand. He's holding the ball. Everybody's talking to him. We'll see how it affects him. Troy, I'm dying to know how that affects him.
There is an incompletion for Robert Woods to bring up 3rd down and 9.
Well, the thing about it is it becomes just hard to squeeze the ball. And for myself, I was a guy who put a lot of pressure on the football when I threw. It depends on the grip of Drew Brees as to if it is affecting him. And it sure seems like it is, since they went to the extent of wrapping it. You know, how tightly does he grip the ball? And if he's a quarterback who grips it looser, he'll be a little bit better in dealing with that. But that'll be certainly for us to keep an eye on.
Rob Havenstein was just called for a hold, and if you're going to hold one of the Saints, it's probably going to be Cam Jordan.
You see the Rams rush to the line of scrimmage. They force the Saints to declare right away what they're doing defensively. That's part of the tempo. They speed it up and slow it down.
Here's Gurley, cuts back. 3rd and long coming up as Gurley gets 3.
Well, you look at the Saints defensively right now. What they've done well is they are playing coverage, and they haven't really been able to get to Jared Goff when he has thrown the ball. But the best part of it, if you're Dennis Allen, is they've held up against the run. The Rams have tried to run the football when the Saints have played coverage, but they haven't been able to. They don't have anything to show for it. That's good for the New Orleans Saints. 2nd and 3.
2nd and 3 for the Rams. 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 2nd and 3 for Third down and 16. Pressure, and down goes Goff. And off the edge, Cam Jordan. Career sack number 73. And a loss of 8.
Well, it's Cam Jordan and Rob Havenstein, and Jordan just comes off the edge. What's perplexing to me is they got Gurley right there to that side against the best pass rusher. You would have expected Gurley to give a little chip with 3rd and long before he went out, but he gave his right tackle no help, and Cam Jordan made him pay.
4-time Pro Bowl punter Johnny Hekker will start toward the back of his end zone.
A great field position here for the Saints.
Rams had a punt blocked and one tipped in week 1 at Carolina. This one gets away cleanly. And a rookie from Assumption, Deontay Harris, returns it 6 yards to midfield. Brought down by Travin Howard. Here comes Breeze, and the Saints on offense down 3. The biggest news story of the day. Teddy Bridgewater has taken over for the Saints at quarterback. We showed you the thumb issue with Drew Brees. Bridgewater's a former Pro Bowl player, but just 25 pass attempts over the last 3+ seasons. He hands to Kamara, who dances forward for 4 yards. So let's first go back to the injury, and eventually we'll talk about Bridgewater. Here it is. The right hand of Donald, the right hand, mainly the thumb of Breeze, and he's out.
Well, he's out. What's concerning to me, if you're a Saints fan, is that he's not even trying to see if he can grip a football and throw it. You know, he looks very upset, and he's just content right now watching Bridgewater play. And then on the other hand, if you thought that it was broken, you would expect him to be in the locker room getting x-rays.
Pass is caught. That's Cook for a first down. Aaron?
Well, these Saints are officially saying right hand questionable for Drew Brees. But Troy, like you're mentioning, he hasn't grabbed a football and tried to warm up at all since the first couple passes he threw to Michael Thomas, and then he got it wrapped up.
The only game Drew Brees has missed with injury since he signed on from the Chargers in 06 was back in 2015 with a shoulder injury, and that was early that season. He has been like granite back there, health-wise, for New Orleans. Out today, for the moment at least, as Bridgewater misses Cook, and there's a flag down at the 30 in the secondary.
Part of the pass, illegal contact, number 43, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's against John Johnson, who has the pick. Meanwhile, I mean, obviously there are some organizations that struggle to find one quarterback. We talked to Sean Payton about how happy he was that Teddy Bridgewater was willing to come back for another year and sit behind Drew Brees. And boy, that looks like a big decision for both at this moment.
No doubt, and he saw it as an opportunity, wondering how long is Drew Brees going to be the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. But right now, week 2, the best thing for Teddy Bridgewater was he's coming off of a preseason. He had gotten a lot of work, so it's not like it's down the road and he hasn't seen much action.
There's Donald, brilliant play as he brings down Kamara. He is a flash coming through that offensive line, a loss of 6.
You see him right here in the middle. He's going to go right by Larry Warford. I mean, this guy, it's almost impossible one-on-one to keep him from having an impact on a game. I mean, you want 2 sets of hands on him at all times. Hard to do.
2nd and 16, setting up a screen for Hill, the tight end. And Hill is knocked down right at the marker, but a flag is down again, and this time it looks like a hold, and it's coming back.
Holding number 78, offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
That's against a rookie, Eric McCoy. You don't just replace Max Unger. He was so good at center until his retirement, and now they traded up to get McCoy, and that's what they got him on with that hold.
And that was a rookie mistake. It's a screen pass. He did not have to hold. You want to invite the rush. good call by Sean Payton. You got Aaron Donald camped out in your backfield. You know, try to use that to your advantage. They're able to pick up the first down there, only to have the rookie get called with the holding penalty unnecessarily.
Second and 26. Kamara. So good in the open space, made a couple miss, and there's another flag. A gain of 17, but will that hold up? One thing you know about Bridgewater, nobody's Drew Brees, but the ball will come out fast. He can run the same offense.
After the completion and during the run, illegal block in the back, number 87 offense. The 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, still second down.
That's on Jared Cook. That's an easy call. I mean, Jared Cook, I think he's a really good addition to this team, but he's had a couple of costly mistakes now. The inability to catch the football led to the 3 points by the Rams, and a nice gain there on second and long is now nullified. And Teddy Bridgewater, coming in a game like this on the road, hasn't played a lot of football, you know, in the regular season over the last few years, and he's been very patient. Even on that last play, he read it out very well. He does give you the element that Drew Brees does not, and that's his ability to move a little bit better and run.
Start Saturday strong this week with the big noon Saturday game of the week. Shea Patterson, number 11, Michigan, take on Jonathan Taylor, and number 13, Wisconsin. It all starts with big noon kickoff pregame show at 11 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Yes, also looking at this quarterback situation, Joe, the Saints, you know, if something were to then happen to Teddy Bridgewater where he can't go, at least they've got Taysom Hill, you know, the jack of all trades, but he can get in there and throw the football. He knows the offense, and he can still play. So this was a Saints team coming into the year with quality depth at that position. But like you said, if you lose Drew Brees, you're losing a whole lot.
Bridgewater at the end of his time in Minnesota, they didn't know if he would ever come back from a devastating knee injury. He's been able to rehab that. Some thought his career might be over. He's proven those people wrong, and now he takes over here in the first quarter of a big game in Los Angeles against the Rams. Second and 21, quick throw, and that is the rookie Deontay Harris going backward. Another flag, and yet another. There are two flags on this play.
That's going to be called on the Saints. It's the crackback block, the illegal blindside block, going back towards your goal line. That's a point of emphasis, and as soon as the hit was made, the flag was thrown.
Well, the play lost 7 yards. Could easily decline that if it's in that category and just see third and long. And let's get the call first from Walt Anderson.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, illegal blindside block, number 28 of the offense. That penalty is declined. It's third down.
It's third down and forever, with 30 seconds left in this opening quarter.
It's Nikel Roby-Coleman. He makes a heck of a play, just reading it, and he's not able to make a tackle. The hit comes in right there. Abucam is the one who was targeted, and they got Latavius Murray for the penalty.
It's third down and 28.
Third and a mile. Right now, there's probably do something real safe here. Try to pin the Rams back on the punt.
And nothing there with Kamara. He was covered by Dante Fowler, and that'll bring up fourth down.
You know, penalties were the undoing right there for New Orleans. They actually did some nice things. Teddy Bridgewater did some nice things coming in for Drew Brees, but penalties backed him up. Now we'll see if Morstead's able to pin the Rams back. The guy who Both these punters didn't get a whole lot of action a year ago.
Saints go backward on that drive. They waste that good field position. Matson back inside the 5. And near the 14. A 10-yard return after a 48-yard punt. The big story of the half. Drew Brees on the sideline. Bridgewater in at quarterback. Right now it's the Rams ball as they lead by 3. So much for a shootout and a fast start for each side. Both head coaches told us this was going to be a race to see who could get out to the better start. It's a 3-0 game. Started the second quarter, and the Rams are backed up starting at their own 14.
Yep.
Goff, Gurley, and when it went through his arms, he was available for a moment with P.J. Williams out there for New Orleans. Sean McVay, after the loss in Super Bowl 53, said there's no other way to say it. I got out-coached tonight. You have so much time that you can over-prepare and get away from some of the things that helped you get there. You agree with that?
Well, not entirely, no. I do know Sean McVay, and I think one of the reasons why this team loves him so much and he has their respect is that he does fall on the sword oftentimes, and he definitely did after that loss.
Goff, good protection again. Here's Gurley, and he gets maybe a yard with Davis forcing him out. Aaron?
Talked to Robert Woods about the loss and Sean McVay and how he spoke to his team about him. And he said, look, it hurt him and us. Of course, it was a letdown, but as Sean echoed to us, we don't have losses, we only have lessons. And the most important thing we learned was all about the experience. It was a good defensive battle for our offense. And look, it only takes one play.
It'll be 4th down as there was pressure eventually in the face of Goff. Cameron Jordan is there for the Saints again, and now the Rams offense is in neutral.
Well, the Saints on these 3rd downs, they're going to a 3-man rush, and so it's 8 men in coverage, and you know, Goff has then afforded some time other than the deep shot to Cooks. He really has not been able to find anybody in there at times. Even on the early downs, there's been some receivers open. I thought Goff, he started the game out last week patient. He certainly was not at his best, and today he's not been able to find a rhythm.
Not a good punt. Harris on that line drive has some room. Deontay Harris, the rookie from Assumption, out of bounds near the 41. A line drive 44-yarder from Hecker, not his best, and an 18-yard return from a guy who's 5'6", 170. And Sean Payton really thinks he's got a chance to be one of the best kick and punt returners in the league this year.
This year, yeah, he's kind of this year's Taysom Hill, you know, for Sean Payton. Sean, it seems like each year has a guy that he falls in love with and really feels that they're going to be impactful, and he's usually right. Whenever he starts blowing the horn of these various players, Taysom Hill obviously has contributed a lot, and now it appears that Deontay Harris is going to be that guy.
Good starting field position again. Bridgewater out to his right, and a nice gain on 1st down. In honor of its 100th season, the NFL is encouraging fans to join players, teams, and the NFL family in a year-long volunteer initiative called Huddle for 100. Choose a cause, volunteer 100 minutes of your time, and help shape what your community will look like for the next 100 years. Together, we can reach 100 million minutes. Visit NFL.com/huddle for 100 to track your minutes and get rewarded.
1-1. Hey, Mike, 5-4. Hey, ready? Ready, push up.
On 2nd down, Murray, the former Raider, then Viking, now Saint, replacing the departed Mark Ingram, who's with the Ravens. Ingram had 159 touches a year ago, a big part of the offense and the success. And now it's Latavius Murray who just got 4.
Yeah, and I don't think the Saints had planned on losing Mark Ingram. There was not much of a negotiation. Ingram just kind of went off and started talking with the Ravens, and then he signed. But an excellent job by Mickey Loomis and Jeff Ireland of going out and bringing in Latavius Murray to allow Alvin Kamara to continue to serve in his role.
Should be a false start.
False start, number 75, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Yeah, some of this is to be expected. The holding penalties, the blocking in the back, not so much. But when you've got a quarterback now coming in with the first unit, you know, even though I said he got a lot of playing time there in the preseason, not a lot of work with this first group. A different cadence, a different sound to these guys on the road. You would expect some of that.
3rd down and 7 now after that 5-yard penalty, and a nice throw and catch by Cook. Down to the 20. And a laser from Teddy Bridgewater.
Well, that sure was. That looked like really good coverage. And this is an element that Jared Cook gives him as an athletic tight end that can really run. I mean, that ball is on the money. It looked like at the end of this one, Cook might have almost lost it. But that's a really good route by Cook. It's a good job of going up making the play right there. He's able to hang on to it in traffic. They're definitely fighting for the football, but Teddy Bridgewater, he's done a nice job. We've already seen him get outside the pocket and run. It changes some things for Wade Phillips as the caller on defense for the Rams.
Here's Kamara with a cutback. The Dolphins reportedly offered Miami native Teddy Bridgewater their starting job this offseason before they signed Ryan Fitzpatrick. Bridgewater turned it down to stay in New Orleans, stay with Sean Payton, see what it might lead to next year. And who knows what the immediate future holds for Drew Brees. As we said, that was an important signing for New Orleans. They're glad they've got him.
No doubt. And there's no, to me anyway, it does not appear that Drew Brees, as it's been reported, that his status is questionable. You know, all indications are this is Teddy Bridgewater deemed the rest of the duration.
That one out of the reach of Kamara. 3rd and 7. Meanwhile, Aaron Donald got caught up in that pile up of bodies 2 plays ago, and he's going inside now to get looked at.
That is a huge blow for this Rams defense. I thought last year, I thought at times watching the Rams, I thought they were sluggish. I didn't think the effort was great. It's always great for Aaron Donald. He's a phenomenal player, and his impact cannot be overstated.
Tanzel Smart takes over for Donald. 3rd down. Pass is off the hands of Michael Thomas. The field goal unit will come on for New Orleans. Try and tie this game.
Well, the Saints have had good field position here the last couple of possessions. Didn't do anything with the other one. And now what looked fairly promising. Not sure Thomas is able to pick up the first down there, even if he makes the catch. We're going to have to settle for a field goal.
And a 34-yard try from last week's hero for the Saints. Will Lutz, who hit from 58 to win the game against Houston, bangs it through. 3-3, 11:06 till half.
Want to stay up to date? Hey Siri, show me football schedules.
Aerial coverage brought to you by State Farm. Down below, the LA Coliseum. Last year it will be home to these Rams. 4th year back in Southern California and into a beautiful new palace and really development in Inglewood, set to open. The stadium is next year.
I can't wait to see it. It sure is impressive flying in. Can only imagine.
And we'll show it to you here in a second. Lutz bangs it into the end zone. Here it is. It was announced earlier on Fox NFL Sunday that the new home of the Rams and the Chargers will be named SoFi Stadium. Opening next summer, centerpiece of that Hollywood Park 298-acre world-class sports and entertainment destination in Inglewood. It'll be the host of the Super Bowl in 2022, the College Football National Championship game the next year, the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2028 Olympic Games. SoFi CEO is Anthony Noto, and that's a big announcement for both SoFi and the Rams earlier today. Here's a toss to Malcolm Brown, the backup to Gurley, and he gets maybe half a yard as Onyemata is there for the Saints. They're the first 3 possessions for the Rams, and within that they had that 57-yarder to Brandon Cooks that only resulted in 3.
You see these safeties back here, they continue to play coverage, and yet the Rams have just been unable to run the football against the looks that should be favorable.
Underneath, it's Kupp coming off the torn ACL, and they're glad to have him back. He's got a first down for LA at the 37.
You're not kidding. He's such a terrific player. They lost him after 8 games last year, and he was not around when these teams met in the playoffs, but he is a difference maker. And you've heard me say it a lot of times, Joe. I think every receiving core is as good as their third guy, and he can beat one-on-one coverage. I know they're thrilled to have him back. And then they've got Josh Reynolds still as their number 4, who stepped in and did a heck of a job in his place. It's a talented group. If they can give Goff some time and he can get untracked a little bit, they're capable of scoring in a hurry.
Goff, open, Higbee. First down, LA. 17 yards from the right hand of Jared Goff.
You see the protection up front. You talked about 2 new starters for this offensive line. A really good group from a year ago. And then Higbee, he's kind of the lost guy in this group. He's a good player as well. Former tight end. He's able to stretch the field. It's a nice completion.
How impressed were you with this operation offensively when you spent time with these Rams over the offseason?
I spent 3 days with them in May, and I was blown away by how hard they practice and the speed and the tempo at which they do it.
Cooks gets the handoff and carries for 2.
You go to a lot of these practices that time of year, and you just don't see the level of urgency that the Rams have. I think Sean McVay and really that entire staff offensively, they do an amazing job. Robert Woods, who you know I'm a big fan of, he does it all. He was so explosive there in those practices, and Brandon Cooks the same way. They do it a little bit differently than a lot of teams around the league.
Second and 8, play action. Pass is caught, diving catch, and a beauty. That's Cooper Kupp again for 15 yards. And he just showed you a lot on that one.
Well, there is some variations within these routes, so you can tell Cooper Kupp, he thought he was going to work back down the stem right to Jared Goff. Goff expected him to come out of that break on the move. That's why the ball was not on target. But Cooper Kupp shows you, his body control and being able to adjust.
Rams get up to the line early. Goff backs off. Here's from his head coach, McVay, who's radioed into his head. And here's a handoff to Kupp on first down. And a carry of 6 yards. Back to the catch by Kupp.
Keep an eye on him right here. You're going to see what Jared Goff sees as he drops back. And Kupp is able to get vertical, and then there's all that room in the middle. That's where Goff was expecting him to go. And like I said, if there's man looks, you run routes one way. If it's zone looks, you run them a different way. That time they just were not on the same page, but the result was good.
Here's Kupp. He's been busy. This completion, no gain. Third down coming up as Marcus Williams, the safety, comes up for the stop.
I do think this Saints defense, outside of the big play to Cooks, which didn't hurt him too bad, only gave up 3 points, has been good. I mean, they've held up. They've kept everything up in front of them. And even playing coverage, the Rams, who in the past, they'd make you pay with the running game, they just have not really been able to do that here in this first half. There's coverage now man-to-man across the boards.
pass is broken up. Flag on the coverage. That's Eli Apple on Robert Woods. And it's against Eli Apple and will be a first down LA.
There's the hook and the turn.
Interference,
It's a
number
good call.
25. Defense. First down at the spot of the foul.
So Dennis Allen, he elects to bring a 5-man rush and lock up down here in the red zone. And Robert Woods, like I was talking about earlier, he can really make you pay. And that time he got Eli Apple to draw the penalty.
Check, check. Kings. Go.
Pass to Woods, has a block. Flag is down as Woods gets into the end zone. We'll see if this is coming back.
Illegal block in the back, number 70. Offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
That's against Noteboom, the left guard.
There it is right there. It's another good call. You know, if he's able to just shield him. Von Bell, who he was called for blocking in the back, but you know, once Woods gets the ball, if he's just able to shield him, he's off and running. The design was good. With the rollout, the other receivers were flooding the other side of the field to clear it out. Costly penalties.
49 in the game. On first down, incomplete for Higbee.
Yeah, Jared Goff, he's wanting a flag. Not sure exactly what Goff saw on that throw. We've got a man down right now. It looks like Austin Blythe, the right guard.
And so they'll come out and check him. And we'll step aside. Second down and 20 when we come back. Rams have to bring out the cart for Austin Blythe. And here it is, whether it's the left knee that gets a bit hyperextended, the left ankle, whatever it is. He went down in a heap and needed a lot of help to get over to the sideline. Jamil Demby comes in. 6th-round pick from Maine a year ago. The Rams have also seen Aaron Donald go into the dressing room. The word on him is questionable to return with a back injury. And the Saints have lost Drew Brees. Brown on a toss, running left on 2nd and 20. More manageable 3rd down coming up after a toss to Brown and a run of 13 yards.
Well, yeah, that was Malcolm Brown had a convoy out in front of him. They were able to get on the edge. They block up the edge to secure the outside, and you know, it's a heck of a gain there on 2nd and long to make this a manageable 3rd down, at least to give them a shot.
Still Malcolm Brown in the backfield. Gurley has not been a factor yet. 6 touches, 5 yards total. That ball's out. Picked up by the Saints and Jordan. And now they're saying incomplete pass. And they've blown it dead. Jordan's down the sideline, but Walt Anderson is saying incomplete pass, no fumble, with pressure by Onyemata. Would have been an 87-yard fumble return for a touchdown. But this was blown dead. Hendrickson got in there. Onyemata got in there.
I'm not so sure, and they will. Sure looked to me like it came out before the hand was going forward. It's a clean recovery. I certainly think that that's a fumble. Onyemata's the one who makes the hit. He's working against the young man who just came in at right guard, Jamil Demby.
We'll hear from Mike Pereira on the other side of the break.
Game is sponsored by Burger King. Try the all-new Impossible Whopper, made from plants only at BK. And by State Farm. Talk to an agent today.
During the break, they made the announcement that this ball was out. It's a fumble. It's not an incomplete pass. It didn't look like it was that close. And Mike Pereira, by saying incomplete pass, they blew it dead.
Just a killer mistake that hurts the Saints so badly. When it's that close, you have to lean the fumble. You can always come back and kill it with incomplete. But even though they give the ball to the Saints here, and it gives them the ball that doesn't correct the mistake, that really would have resulted in a touchdown.
Let's be clear. This should have been a touchdown for the New Orleans Saints. And because of the call that was made by the official, they get the ball, but they don't get the touchdown. And the Saints are on the short end of another call yet again.
Going back to the championship game, that's 3 games in a row that there's been officiating controversy that affects the outcome of games.
So you go back to the champ game, the no call on Nickel Roby-Coleman. You go back to how they administered the clock and worked that at the end of the half against Houston. And now this ball comes out. Cam Jordan goes 87 yards, but they blew it dead instead of letting the play continue. And if it was incomplete, then they can always come back. But they blew it dead, so the return doesn't happen, and it literally takes a touchdown off the board for the New Orleans Saints. How many times can this happen to the Saints? Unbelievable. 2nd and 2. Kamara. First down. And all in all, I mean, I would say Sean Payton has got every reason to be beyond upset. Pretty controlled for Sean Payton. He's got to go back to just calling a game and try and figure out how to get Teddy Bridgewater in this offense down the field.
That's right. He's got a lot on his mind, and it's like Mike Pereira said. It's just you know, the officials, they're told to just let it go. That's what they're instructed to do. They failed to do it. That's a shame for the New Orleans Saints.
Aaron Donald back in the game for the Rams. Bridgewater dragged to the ground by Sebastian Joseph Day, but a flag on the play.
I don't know if he got his face mask when he was pulling him to the ground or not, but it came out right after the tackle.
There's a flag in the secondary as well.
Face mask number 69, defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, I see that flag, but there, and that's the call, but there's another flag back at the 48. But they, evidently that official from 25 yards away saw the same thing. So 2 flags, 1 foul, and that moves the ball out to the Saints 39. Murray brought down by Dante Fowler. You know, the other, I don't want to say big piece to this, but when you lose the great Drew Brees, you go down to Teddy Bridgewater. Now the backup is Taysom Hill, and it takes what Taysom Hill does offensively, running the ball, catching the ball, what he does on special teams. There he is, number 7, really out of the game plan, at least for the moment, for Sean Payton. They've got to keep him ready to go in case something happens to number 5.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. He'll still be on special teams and things of that nature, but you got to be real careful when exposing him.
On 2nd down, downfield, and Kamara's overthrown. Johnson in coverage. And that's to bring up 3rd and 10.
Well, I think when, you know, if you're the Rams and you're Wade Phillips and you're looking at this offense coming into the game, here comes Taysom Hill now into the ball game, but you know, you're concerned about the weapons and Drew Brees and yeah, the running game, but now with Bridgewater and like I said, not having played much football in the last several years, they're going to overload that run and they're going to make Bridgewater do some things in the passing game to prove that he can beat him that way.
So they're not protecting Hill. The 2 remaining quarterbacks are out on the field right now for the Saints. And here is Hill. Makes the catch. And and it depends on the spot.
It looked like he was just short. It's awfully close. You'd have to think from here that Sean Payton will go for it.
Yeah, he's short by about half a yard. On top of that, I mentioned in passing that the Saints lost Keith Kirkwood in the pregame warm-ups to a hamstring injury.
Well, Sean Payton last year went for it on 4th and 1 more than anybody in football, and so this is certainly not a surprise whatsoever.
From his side of the 50. Kamara tries to pick his way. Didn't look like he got it, but we'll wait to make sure. No signal yet, but he looks to be short. They're going to measure. Sean Payton on 4th down the last 3 years has been successful 83% of the time. He was 13 of 16 last year, 12 of 15 the year before, 13 of 15 in 2016. But he looks like he's going to start this season 0 for 1.
Well, Samson Ebukam, he was the one lined up over Zach Line, and it looked to me like he was the one who was able to get the push and jam that thing up and keep the Saints from picking that up. They even lost a little bit on that spot. I think some of it has to do with his confidence, that being Sean Payton and his own offensive line, but also the job that his defense is doing right now. They've done a great job here in this first half. They're going to have to step up with great field position for the Rams.
And think about what just transpired, and now you can see Sean Payton getting hot, and I think rightly so. They took a touchdown away because they blew a play dead, and then they go for it on 4th down. Not a surprise to us, and they don't get it from their side of the 50.
Yeah, I mean, these types of games between these opponents, you know, there are 3 or 4 plays in the game that determine who wins, and that was one of them that the Saints were on the wrong end of.
Biggest play of the game for Todd Gurley. Carries it inside the 30. And a toss to him running right, gets 20.
They haven't been able to run the ball inside. They continue to play the coverage back here, and so you can see when they have been able to have some success running the football, it's been them getting out on the perimeter, which is what they're able to do here with Gurley.
Turbo set.
We're at the 2-minute warning. In a 3-3 game. Rams, Saints. Few saw this coming. Back after this. Two of the best, most potent offenses in the NFL. This is the 10th total drive. We've seen no touchdowns, 4 punts, 2 field goals, a couple of turnovers, and one time moments ago the Saints turned it over on downs. Tie ball game, toss to Gurley, left side. Brought down at the 25. The Rams on their last drive lost a touchdown to a penalty, and then lost a shot at the field goal attempt on that replay challenge on a ball that just, a play that just has to make Sean Payton sick. Took a touchdown off the board for the Saints.
Well, right now the Rams are starting to get the running game going a little bit, under 2 minutes and counting, and don't forget that the Rams also get the ball to start this second half. It's big right now for the Saints defense.
Fake toss. Goff. Woods. First down. 14-yard completion to Robert Woods.
Yeah, you know, they get the running game going, and now that ties right into what they do off the play action, the naked boots and things like that. So it all works together with this Rams offense. And because of that running game, once Goff gets outside the pocket, that was a pretty easy completion for them.
Inside, 2 timeouts. Rams 0 for 2 in the red zone, scoring touchdowns. Gurley, right side. Four-yard gain. Prior to this possession, Gurley 6 touches, 5 yards, had that good run to start this. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Tony will be in the studio. Recap of the early games here in week 2. And the Chiefs and Raiders are going at it in Oakland. Higbee looking for blocks. 3rd down coming up.
Really pretty good idea there by the Rams. They go with the trips to the field, but they bunch. And you see what the Saints do. The numbers right here look pretty good for the Rams. But the pursuit coming inside out with the linebackers, they're able to then make a play. Goff sees that. It's a numbers game. He looks at it and says, hey, we got enough blockers. They take a shot at it.
We'll let this clock go all the way down to 8 seconds now, and Sean McVay came running down to call a timeout. He may want some time put back on, but it won't be much. Moments ago, this is what happened with Cam Jordan on the sideline for the Saints.
Great play.
I ran 80 yards for no reason.
Said I ran 80 yards for no reason, and in essence, he did.
Yeah. Unfortunately for him and the Saints.
Ball was clearly out, ruled a fumble. Sean Payton has been working that official ever since, and at one point you could read his lips. He said, I'm tired of dealing with it. So are Saints fans. They put 2 seconds back on.
This is the second charge timeout in New Orleans.
Now the Saints take a timeout. Before 3rd down and 4, 10 seconds in the half. Here's Kurt. What's coming up at the half?
Coming up on the Visa halftime, it is week 2, which, if my math is correct, means it should be twice as good as week 1, right? We'll add up all the highlights, plus have a divisional matchup between the Chiefs and Raiders as they try to multiply their win totals. We'll sum it up for you coming up on the Visa halftime.
It's a beautiful mind look, and that's a beautiful mind sitting next to Kurt Menefee and Terry Bradshaw. 3rd and 4.
He's the best. I'll tell you right now, with 1 timeout for the Rams, you know, they can run the football here and do whatever it is that they want. Try to pick this up.
Goff incomplete. It's 4th down, and after all that, this Saints defense, which has really come to play in this one, gets a stop. And with 7 seconds left in the half, the field goal unit comes on for LA.
It's a good job defensively there by New Orleans. They give the ball to the Rams at midfield after failing to convert on 4th down. Rams put together something, but unable to punch it in. It goes for both teams so far in this ball game.
Saints have made 3 red zone stops against the Rams in this half, and a 22-yard chip shot from Zerline for a 3-point lead. Numbers are awfully good for the Rams under Sean McVay when leading at the half. 19-0. And when we talked to Sean Payton, he was well aware that the young Sean McVay, who's only 33 years old, was undefeated when his team went to the locker room up at halftime.
Yeah, I was just as surprised when I learned that. That's impressive stuff. In this league, you know, there's not many big leads at halftime of these NFL games. So for him to be able to hang on to those when he's had them and be undefeated that's really impressive.
In case you're wondering, this is the 4th time these 2 head coaches have gone at it. The team leading at the half has won 2 of the 3 previous meetings. The Saints had a halftime lead during the NFC Championship game last January and lost 26-23 in overtime.
Well, this is not the game that we had anticipated, is it? Coming in, you know, with these offenses and these coaches. Of course, Drew Brees goes down early. But still, with that being said, a 6-3 score.
out of the back of the end zone. And maybe the biggest highlight in a 9-point half is the Saints losing Drew Brees. Visa halftime is coming up after the break. Saints, Rams, 3-point lead, LA. Rams get the kickoff to start the second half.
This week 2 right here, America's Game of the Week. Gotta love it. Execute together. Play with passion.
Nobody said it had to be close. Let's go.
That was today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. We've seen some injuries, a notable one to Drew Brees. We've seen a bad call on the field. We've seen a lot of good defense, not much offense. Welcome to the booth. I'm Joe Buck with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman and the Hall of Fame rules guy. Thank gosh he's here week after week. You know, the Saints are going to be talking about this yet again. I think Sean Payton, Mike Pereira has been talking about this since it happened with the officiating crew. The ball was out. They said incomplete pass, and what that does is then eliminate this return for a touchdown.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, you know, you got to look at this play, and if it's at all close, if you can't tell as the referee whether it is a pass or a fumble, then you want to rule fumble. You don't want to actually officiate to the system, but you have to keep the play alive. So if it is, you know, a fumble, and then you can turn it into an incomplete pass, but you can't do the reverse. So it's a critical mistake, and it just comes time and time again to the Saints.
Yeah, they've got to be getting tired of hearing about it, and you know that the Saints fans are wondering, you know, how many more times are they going to have to go through this. Obviously a tight game, 3 points at the half, and the Rams about to get the ball to start the second half. It's been an impressive beginning for each defense, Troy.
Yes, it has. Both these defenses played awfully well. Not much offense to speak of. I think that when you consider the Rams, you take out Brandon Cook's big catch, you take out one run by Todd Gurley, they really have not done anything. So this second half, if it continues, it's a defensive ball game, and that even compounds the error by the officials, because it's plays like that that are going to ultimately decide the outcome.
Aaron, what'd you learn at the half?
The update on Drew Brees from Sean Payton, it was his thumb, and Sean telling me he just simply couldn't grip the ball. I said, what's the plan for Teddy Bridgewater? And he told me, I think Teddy's going to be fine, but we have to do a better job up front and in the run game. And of course, I asked him about that call, and he just simply said, I am so tired of it. I'm tired of being on the wrong side of it. I asked him if the officiating crew said anything to him, and he said, we simply blew it dead.
Aaron, thanks. Drew Brees played 2 series. He was injured with just under 7 minutes left in the first quarter. It's Bridgewater now for the Saints, and it's Jared Goff for the Rams, up by 3. And down he goes, able to get the ball out. And they're going to say incomplete pass. And it certainly looked like it. Big pressure by Onyemata and Davenport to get to Goff.
Yeah, like we talked about, they've got some different faces up there on that offensive line. And right now, the New Orleans Saints are taking advantage of it. Jamil Demby, he's now in there at right guard. And even with a 4-man rush, with nowhere for Goff to go with the football, the Saints are getting pressure on him. That was the objective coming in. You lose a starter then, and it's even made things tougher now for this Rams attack.
Goff's been sacked twice, knocked down 8 times. 2nd and 10, Goff incomplete.
He just has not found a rhythm whatsoever. I thought in the Week 1 game he really struggled, and that has continued here in this one.
Defense has been the star with all of these offensive weapons, and it's certainly been the case for both sides so far. But on the road, it's been that much more impressive by the Saints. Big 4th down stop there, 4th and less than a yard on the Saints side of midfield late in that first half. It led to 3 points for the Rams. Goff in trouble again, slides through, finds Gurley, and Gurley depends on where they put it. Right now, they're going to put it just short. Anzalone got out there to force him out. It's 4th down.
Like Rob Havenstein might have gotten away with a hold on Cam Jordan around the neck. You see right here as he starts to get by him, there's certainly a grab. He has not been afforded a whole lot of time. Once again, a four-man rush and just nowhere to go as we see Brees now coming back onto the field. He does not have it wrapped up as he did in the first half. So it looks to me like he's got thoughts that he might come out and try to give it a go.
Stopped by Anzalone on Gurley, just short of first down yardage, and the punt team comes out. It's never a given that the Rams will punt with Hekker. What they do here. Not a pretty punt. Out of bounds. They're going to mark it at the 29. And just a 37-yard punt by Hekker. That's a couple of bad ones from Hekker. Will we see Brees when we come back? Right now it's Bridgewater on the field.
Today's game is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, handing a big savings to you.
Moments ago, that right thumb of Drew Brees was rewrapped on the sideline. They are saying his return is questionable, so he is not ruled out. Right now, it's the first possession for the Saints of this second half, trailing by 3.
He sure looks like a guy who's about ready to take the field, though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's looking at his fingers like he does before snaps.
There's a drop by Jared Cook.
We'll see what Sean Payton is able to do. Teddy Bridgewater has not gotten any help, that's for sure. When you look at what has happened there in that first half, running the football just 15 yards on 11 carries by Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray, and whatever they have been able to do has been because of Teddy Bridgewater. And he's going to need a little help.
Will Clapp, an extra offensive lineman, comes in for New Orleans on 2nd and 10. Three-snap penalty.
Ball starts, number 13, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That's when you really need these veteran players, those guys, to rally behind this quarterback and not set them back even further. The Rams defensively not surprising. They are overloading the box. They're playing one-on-one on the receivers, and they're just saying, hey, we're gonna make number 5 show us that he can throw it. Hey, see, they're dropping the safety down here now.
And that is Weddle coming up to try and make the stop. Murray goes through him, delivers a hit on Nickel Roby-Coleman. And they're going to give Latavius Murray 16 yards and a first down.
That's a nice job of getting him out flanked, and good stiff arm there on Eric Weddle.
He's a different back than Mark Ingram. He's listed at 5'9", 215. Murray 6'3", 230.
A different style runner and a guy who's more capable, I believe, in the passing game.
Here's Kamara, who really got rolling in the second half on Monday against Houston. Saints in that first half had just 106 yards. And Alvin Kamara ended up with a big day. 97 yards as Andrus Peat is injured on that last carry. While they look at him, we'll take a break before 2nd and 5. It's been 10 years since Super Bowl 44 and the championship for the New Orleans Saints. The Tracy Porter interception for a touchdown. Sean Payton, you saw, hosting the Lombardi Trophy, and Drew Brees with his son, Balin. And that gutsy onside kick call that started the second half with his team down to Peyton Manning and the Colts. Here's what happened to Andrus Peat. And you see that inside of his right ankle get kicked by Kamara on that first down run.
Yeah, so now they bring in number 64, Will Clapp, last year's 7th-round pick out of LSU, to step in for Peat. So both teams Now having to rely on some young players to step in at the guard position.
Kamara, what a cut. Stopped on a dime, took it upfield, and got 5.
Well, 5 yards is his longest run of the day. They've been hard to come by. But you're right, the good vision and his ability to just hit it. Stay ahead of the chains here on 2nd down.
Had 6 carries, 8 yards on Monday against Houston, then came alive with 81 rush yards in the second half. They fake it to him. Bridgewater to his right, drops it down. That is Traquan Smith for a first down. And a nice drive now being put together by the Saints as they've taken it inside the LA 40.
The route by Michael Thomas. He starts like he's going to run a deep over route, then peel back out of it. That's where Bridgewater would have gone with the ball, but because of pressure, he got flushed to his right. He gets the ball to Traquan Smith. I do like what I've seen of Bridgewater. I think he's been very cautious with the football. I think he's been smart with the football, probably is a better way of saying it, and hasn't tried to do too much. But I do believe the way that the Rams are playing right now, again, 9 guys within 10 yards of the ball. You're going to have to get some plays in the passing game.
Kamara gets 3. Already been 3 first downs on this possession for the Saints. And they have gotten inside the outer edge of field goal range now for Lutz, as Andrews Pete will head in to get looked at a little bit further in the dressing room. 2nd and 7.
Blow.
That's thrown away.
No, the coverage is really good right now by the Rams, and you see Eric Weddle. He reads things. At first, he's playing shallow. He's looking for the crosser. That doesn't occur. He's then able to turn around and run underneath, where Bridgewater was thinking about going with the football. He's I know, such a key acquisition, and Sean McVay was thrilled to get him. He could have gone elsewhere for more money, but he decided he wanted to be a Los Angeles Ram because of the team and also because of Sean McVay and to play for a head coach like him. He's had a great career. He's going to have a nice season this year for this Rams defense.
Quick snap, Bridgewater. Can't get around Roby Coleman. Good play by Nickel Roby-Coleman, the one who delivered the hit last year in the NFC Champ game in coverage, a gain of 1. It won't go down as a sack, but a big play, and there was pressure by Michael Brockers on that 3rd down pass attempt. They'll bring on Lutz to attempt from 52.
Well, he had his career long Monday night for the game winner against the Houston Texans.
Good snap, good hold, good kicker. 2 for 2. This game is tied at 6. On a warm day, downtown Los Angeles.
Today's game is sponsored by the Ford F-150, built Ford tough. And by Gears 5, play now with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, rated M for mature.
6-6 ball game with 9:49 left, quarter number 3. The Saints just had their longest drive of the game, and it only went 37 yards. That's how good the Rams defense has been, coordinated by Wade Phillips and JoJo Natson. Thanks for the kickoff from Will Lutz. America's favorite guessing game is back. Don't miss the Masked Singer premiere Wednesday, September 25th. And you can get a preview of season 2 clues and costumes on the Masked Singer Super Sneak Peek tonight after the game right here on Fox. Already got Troy chuckling to himself. That's Rampage, the Rams mascot, and then a fox on Fox. There you go.
I watched our own Terry Bradshaw on the show last year.
Yes, she did.
He didn't win, but he made a good showing.
I'm going to say that's Usher inside that Fox costume. On first down, play action. Goff gets hit as he throws and still completes to Cooks. Pressure in his face, a good throw. A completion of 15 yards. Jordan was right there.
Yeah, it's been a long time since Cooks caught a football in this game. The last one was his only one, and that was the 57-yarder that set up the field goal. First score of the game. The Saints still getting pressure on Goff. This offensive line has been taxed in this game.
It was on the third play of the game for the Rams. Not much since. Here's Gurley. As the play gets strung out to the left, Anzalone knocks him out a gain of 2.
Well, they continue to try to get Gurley going a little bit. He hasn't been able to break off much of anything, really. 5 yards being his longest run. And Malcolm Brown, they haven't been able to get him going as well. The Saints continue to play that coverage, inviting the running game. And generally, this team's so balanced, they take advantage of that, but not today.
Over the middle, wide open. Kupp making moves and down to the 30. "27 yards for Cooper Kupp.
The Saints are playing zone coverage, and you see the drops there by the linebackers. Kupp knows exactly where they're vulnerable, right over the ball. And Jared Goff able to deliver it, even with another hit right in his face as he lets it go.
Goff hits Everett in the side, and that was just trying to stay alive, get rid of it, and avoid the sack for Goff.
There's that last throw that he was able to get to Kupp. You know, they're looking for, say, hey, there's a hand to the helmet there. They're looking for a forcible blow. That was not forcible, so I think it was a good non-call. But Jared Goff, he has been under duress throughout this game.
Shy Tuttle was in his face. He started against the Texans at half a sack. Free agent from Tennessee, 23-year-old rookie. The play clock is at 4. Woods, it looked like, called timeout. They're going to say false start. Will they grant the timeout?
False start, number 17, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Let's take a look. That wasn't him trying. He called timeout, but that was late after his false start. So a good call, and that cost 5 yards. 2nd and 15. And another false start, this time on Whitworth.
False start, number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
About as sure as they come as a left tackle in this league. The 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, Andrew Whitworth. He finally got to the postseason last year, got all the way to the Super Bowl. He's in his 14th season.
Well, I know this team had some struggles late last season. Certainly did not play their best football in the Super Bowl. Not playing in the preseason didn't seem to affect them a year ago, but I don't know, maybe that's had an impact. They've just not been themselves in the early going this year.
Goff somehow gets it to Woods. And Woods able to take it inside the 20 with a first down. Well, that was a nifty little throw from Jared Goff to find Robert Woods out there on the edge.
Well, it's good delivery of the football. You got to get it out quick, and then also the blocking down the field. I mean, just enough. You got Gurley down there. He's involved, and right there, Rob Havenstein. He's trying to get a piece of somebody. A big gain there on 2nd and long to bring up a very short 3rd and 1.
Initially, they said he took it to the 19. The other official moved it back 2 yards. Gurley gets the first down. Back to the 19 it goes. Cameron Jordan on the stop. First down, and inside the red zone are the LA Rams.
See, they get right back onto the line of scrimmage. The Saints start to scramble to get into position, and that gives Goff then an opportunity to see what they're doing.
Jordan chasing Goff, who throws back across the field to Everett, who fights his way for a Rams first down. A catch and run of 11.
Now that's always the throw that they tell young quarterbacks never to make. It's outside. You see out to the numbers, and he comes back inside to Everett. A lot of danger in there typically, but they're able to get away with it and pick up some nice yards.
Brett Favre is watching somewhere saying, what's wrong with that?
Well, I'm helping a high school back in Dallas, and my quarterback did that Friday night. I had to tell him that that's not the way we do it at this level, son.
Don't watch Goff.
Yeah.
First and goal, Gurley. Well played. That was Bell that came up from the safety spot and a loss of 1. Breeze came out after the Saints got out there to start the 3rd quarter. Had his helmet on, got his thumb retaped. But it certainly looks like the rest of this one belongs to Bridgewater, and who knows how many weeks going forward, depending on how serious that thumb injury is. 2nd and goal. Goff. Flag. It's Woods on the catch. And they're going to call contact against the Saints. Eli Apple was out there for New Orleans.
It looked, Joe, like Gerald McCoy, Gerald Everett was trying to, there's 81, the Von Bell. It looks like you're right that Eli Apple maybe got the call. I'm not sure, but Everett was trying to signal for the official, feeling that Von Bell held him trying to come out of his route.
The question is, did they rule that a catch? And they have ruled that a catch. That's why the ball's sitting at the 1. I don't know about that. Let's take another look. Right now the call is catch. That ball hit a lot of grass and was trapped.
Yeah, it looked to me like it was incomplete. A lot of movement, ball on the ground.
It's really just a difference of where the ball is spotted. Yeah. Here's a call.
Illegal contact, number 25 of the defense. Los Angeles has elected to enforce the penalty half the distance to the goal from the previous spot. It'll be automatic first down.
So there you go. It's an automatic first down. And they're going to move the ball to the 4. Goff, 4 for 5 for 72 on this drive. Rams have gone 0 for 3 in the red zone so far, scoring touchdowns. Quick snap, tossed to Gurley, left side. Todd Gurley dives for the touchdown. A 4-yard touchdown carry, and the first for Gurley.
Rams do a good job with these stacks, but this time they're going to use these receivers to block down, and then with the pulling linemen, they're able to help get out in front. A good kick out there by Gerald Everett, and then Gurley just has to go get it, which he does.
For Gurley, that's his 41st touchdown over the last 3 years. By far, #1 in the NFL. his first of this season. We've got a touchdown in this ball game as the Rams lead by 7.
Grinding all my life, sacrifice, hustle, pay the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life.
7-point lead for LA, 13-6, 5:39 left third quarter, and it's now on Teddy Bridgewater and the Saints, who moved the ball relatively well last time they had it, to try and do something about this 7-point deficit. We'll start at the 25. We'll say it again. You've got Alvin Kamara in your backfield with all that he brings, running it, catching it. The Rams right now, at least what they've shown so far since Brees went out, is they are daring Teddy Bridgewater and the Saints to try to beat them through the air.
Yeah, this has been a big play offense over the years, certainly with Drew Brees. Last week they were as well in the win over Houston, but they don't have a 20-yard play in this game, and yet the Rams continue to challenge them to try to get the ball up the field.
Because plays like this, there's not a lot of room for Kamara. As Roby Coleman gets the stop, a gain of 4.
Yeah, they've been hard to come by, the yards on the ground, just 25 yards in today's ball game for Alvin Kamara. And I just think if they're going to have a chance, it's nice to try to take some of the pressure off, run the football, keep it manageable distance. But I do think at some point they're going to have to come up with a few big plays down the field if they're going to be able to score touchdowns.
Pressure, down goes Bridgewater, ball comes out. And it looks like Armstead got on top of it for New Orleans. Clay Matthews got there and delivered the hit.
And they put a tight end over to that side. Josh Hill is the one who is working against Clay Matthews, and you know, to his front side, I think that's an example of Teddy Bridgewater, you know, really just not having played a lot and not feeling that right to his front side, and not at least trying to either protect the football or at least move up in the pocket and get rid of it.
Second sack for Matthews with the Rams. Had one last week. Bridgewater, flag is down, so's Bridgewater back inside the 15. Wrapped up by Brockers.
Holding number 67 offense. That penalty has declined. 4th down.
That play was going to come back anyway with the hold, but you can see the pocket. Here's the pressure by Brockers and just the lack of navigating the pocket by Bridgewater. You see there's room there for him to kind of move up and at least avoid that or help his offensive lineman. It's just from not having done it for quite some time.
Morstead into punt. From inside the 45's got the far sideline, cuts back down inside the 30. And after that drive went backward for the Saints, a 45-yard punt and a 32-yard return by JoJo Natson.
That's a great job for the little guy, just taking it and going, and you know, really picking up some key yards now in, what, 26-yard line to start this drive. Just unable offensively for the Saints to get anything going. They get backed up, the punt, and the great return, and it sets the Rams offense up beautifully.
Malcolm Brown in the backfield behind Goff. Gets it running left. Breaks Anzalone's tackle and finds a first down. Signed to an offer sheet, a restricted free agent. The Lions wanted him. The Rams matched. Had to guarantee the second year. They were happy to do it, and they have a good backup to Todd Gurley.
Well, they sure do, and it was because of Malcolm Brown going down last year that they went out and then got C.J. Anderson, who you talked about earlier in this game and what he meant to this team down the stretch. But Malcolm Brown is such a great compliment to Todd Gurley and the things that he's capable of doing. I just like that the Rams, they understand the value of the players that they have. There's A.J. Klein, number 53 for the Saints linebacker, who's down. But the Rams, with Les Snead and Sean McVay, they understand the value of the players that they have and who's important and who they need to keep. And Malcolm Brown, obviously a role player, but a very important role player for this offense, especially with everything that Todd Gurley's been dealing with.
A.J. Klein will go right into the locker room. First down just inside the 15 for the Rams, who lead by 7. Kiko Alonso, who was traded to the Saints after the 53-man rosters were set from Miami, takes over defensively for A.J. Klein. Brown again cuts back. Onyemata throws him down. Rams are trying to win here today to keep pace with the Seahawks and the 49ers.
They had a big win today.
They beat Cincinnati and Seattle on the road, took care of the Steelers. And Ben Roethlisberger did not finish that game. 2nd and 8.
Well, you just get the feeling right now that if the Rams get a touchdown, it could prove to just be too much for this Saints team, considering how poor their offense has been.
Here's Everett. Davis on the stop. Alonso in there as well, and it sets up 1st and goal.
Every time we cover the Rams, I talk to Sean McVay about Gerald Everett and where he is, and he's a talented guy. Just does not get a lot of opportunities in this offense, primarily because they're so good at wide receiver.
There's no snap in play. The officials have to be in position before the ball can be snapped.
So the attempt to quick snap, and the officials were not back and in position, so they blew it dead. Brown left side. Down just inside the 2. Cam Jordan with a tackle.
Now this Rams receiving bunch, they're really talented. They haven't had a lot of opportunities today, but they will get in there and mix it up. That time Robert Woods, they ask him to do a lot within their run game as blockers, more so than probably most teams in the league.
Quick throw, passes caught for the touchdown, Brandon Cooks. Lattimore was all over him, and somehow Goff fit it in there after the big punt return by JoJo Natson.
I'm not so sure that wasn't designed to hand the ball off here to Malcolm Brown, but Goff sees it in an opportunity with Cooks getting inside leverage. That's not an easy catch to make. That's good, strong hands by Brandon Cooks to haul that one in.
After setting career highs last year, Cooks in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns gets his 1st of the year. Zuerlein to make it a 14-point game. It's 20-6, and we'll be right back after this message from Hulu. Todd Gurley has a touchdown, and then 4 minutes and 39 seconds later, Brandon Cooks has his first touchdown of the season.
He just takes it inside, and then, you know, there's a lot of bodies inside there for Goff, and yet he sticks it on him. You know, I like all these receivers for this Rams team, and Brandon Cooks, we've been watching him since he was playing for the New Orleans Saints. He was impressive there. He was with the Patriots for one season, and then the Rams brought him in, and he's been a very productive player for all three of those franchises.
How impressed were you with Jared Goff when you were hanging around the Rams?
I was very impressed. I mean, this guy knows this offense inside and out, and the things that he's able to do and the communication and the relationship that he and Sean McVay have is really why this offense has been able to do what it's done, you know, over the last couple of years. It hasn't been as sharp here in 2019, but there's no doubt in my mind that it will get on track and we'll see more productive days. He's a bright young guy, and he's very accurate with the football. You know, that's what you need in an organization. I mean, there's teams around the league that they have guys who are talented, but they're not committed to putting the time in to be great. Jared Goff puts the time in, just like Drew Brees has done for 19 years.
Goff's completed passes on 7 of his last 8. Rams have taken charge. See if the Saints can come up with an answer. A helmet goes rolling downfield. It belongs to Traquan Smith, as Dante Fowler makes that stop, and the Saints get a quick first down. I would say that's probably a penalty.
Yeah. These helmets
took his helmet off. Marcus Peters.
These helmets they're fitted a little differently from back in my day. I mean, the helmets come off a lot easier. It's hard to rip a helmet off at one time back in the day.
Like way back in the 90s. Here's Bridgewater taking off. Flag is down. Bridgewater's got a first down, but a flag back at the 30. It's a hold.
Will Clapp was on the ground, and anytime you see that in a flag, it's a pretty good indicator.
10-yard penalty, still first down.
And he's the one guilty. And it erases a 13-yard carry by Bridgewater.
And he's right here, number 64, and again, he's playing because of the injury to Andrus Peat. And that's an easy one to call. Aaron Donald, he'll draw a few holding penalties. That's not the easiest of assignments. Not surprisingly, you know, they bring in the young guy Will Clapp, and Aaron Donald, he smelled blood.
14-point game into the fourth quarter we go, and we'll be back after this from your local Fox station. Well, not a ton of offense for the Saints. 148 total yards. Drew Brees played 2 series, injured his thumb with just under 7 minutes left in the first quarter, and the offense really has not kicked into gear with Bridgewater. First down and 20, starting quarter number 4. And Kamara has been shut down. Taylor Rapp up to make the stop, the rookie from Washington, second-round pick. Here's the injury to Drew Brees. Early in this game, it looked innocuous, but it is anything but, as he hit into the right hand of Aaron Donald.
Well, you were talking about it a moment ago, Joe, that, you know, depending on the severity of it, how long will he be out? How long will it be Bridgewater's team? The fact that he hasn't thrown a ball that we've seen or even try to come back, that lends me to believe that this is very significant.
Here's a pass to Thomas, breaking a couple of tackles. He takes it over 35 for 7. Third down coming.
Well, it's a start. You know, I mean, at least they pick up some of it, but now here they are at, you know, 3rd and 11, and third downs have been hard. They've been hard for both teams, but we'll see whether or not Bridgewater can hang in there and make a play and deliver a strike and keep this drive going.
There's a bigger point to the early part of the schedule with Brees injured that should be made before the end of this one for New Orleans. They're down and 11 here. Bridgewater finds his man Thomas for a first down. That was big. And they overcome that hold on Will Clapp. Set up 1st and 20 in this one on 3rd down for 17 and a first down.
It is big, and Bridgewater, he's just not seeing things as quickly, and that's to be expected. But because of that, the pass rush has gotten to him, but he is able to hang in there. That ball could have come out a lot sooner based on the coverage and the look in the zone. But give him credit, he hung in there and he delivered one and kept ahead of the chains.
Bridgewater. Tre'Quan Smith, nice move. There he goes inside the 25 to the 20. Eric Weddle saved the touchdown. 28 yards.
Well, that's really what New Orleans needed. Tre'Quan Smith, that's just a terrible job by the Rams. Overrun it, poor tackling. Weddle's the one who's the last man to save it. But they needed a big play. They finally got one.
And that was their biggest of the day, but then Tre'Quan Smith is injured on the tackle by Weddle. First down for the Saints, trying to hang in this one in L.A.
Game is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
We zoom in on the legs of Tre'Quan Smith. And then at the end of the play, his head into the grass. He checks out. They're getting thin at the wide receiver position for the Saints. Flag on the play. Looks like another hold. Bridgewater 3 for 3 on this drive, but he may be facing another 1st and 20 depending on the call.
Holding number 71, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
The bigger point for the Saints, this is obviously a big game when you get into playoff seeding. Head-to-head results become the first tiebreaker. But these are games, whether it's against the Rams, at the Seahawks, against the Cowboys. Those are 3 teams that figure to be headed for strong seasons. Who knows how it all shakes out, but if they're without Drew Brees, that is a major piece for any team. But going into those games could be a big factor later in the year.
Well, you like your chances with the Saints against any team in the league if Brees is your quarterback.
Pass is caught by Thomas. Weddle with the tackle. A gain of 7. NFC South. New Orleans, the only team in the division to win week 1. That last-second field goal in the win against Houston. Tampa Bay won. We were there on Thursday as they won at Carolina. They're 0-2, and they lost their first 2 at home.
Well, to finish up, Joe, look, I mean, there's not many teams, especially teams like New England, Green Bay, New Orleans, that have Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You lose those guys, it's significant. Your team looks entirely different.
Bridgewater, great protection this time, and the pass is incomplete for the fullback, Zach Line. He got up looking for a flag on Corey Littleton. No flag, and Littleton knocked it away.
Yeah, that was one of the few times that Teddy Bridgewater really, had a very clean pocket to try to find somebody, and you can see the coverage across the board. Just nobody. You see here. There's somebody, but nobody's getting open for him.
Third down and 13. Bridgewater, pass broken up. Good coverage downfield. Taylor Rapp, the rookie, on the tight end, Jared Cook.
I'm not sure exactly what Bridgewater saw here. There was 2 guys essentially on Jared Cook with really no opportunity. The only real chance he had was an underneath route running away. It looked like Michael Thomas in the middle of the field. It would not have garnered a first down if they complete it. But it certainly gives them an opportunity to possibly go for it. It had been close. We'll see now with Will Lutz.
42-yard try. 3 for 3 in the game. But they wanted, obviously, maybe needed more at the end of that drive. America's Game of the Week. Rams lead by 11. Aerial coverage brought to you by State Farm. It is a warm day here on the 15th of September, and the long walk is made by Traquan Smith. So they've lost Breeze. They lost Keith Kirkwood during pregame with a hamstring injury, and now Traquan Smith. How about some sounds from the sideline, the Rams sideline?
That was just a knock. That's just a double down. All right, we're going to go for the knockout later. We're going to go for the knockout later.
Well, this would be that knockout if they can put together a long drive. Rams leading by 11. Jared Goff in this offense. Remember, these guys didn't play at all during the preseason. They got a win at Carolina. They lead here, and if they can put a long, successful drive together, might pack this one away. Malcolm Brown. A couple of nice cuts and a good carry on first down. Mario Edwards, who missed the first game with a bad hamstring on the tackle, a gain of 8.
Boy, you're not kidding. That was a great run by Malcolm Brown. It looked like they had him, for basically no gain. He makes a cut and is able to turn it into a really positive play. Here's a good look at it. His ability to stop and cut and get going north and south. Right now for the Saints, you just feel like this defense, I know the one got taken away from them. What a difference that would be right now in this ball game, but that they're going to have to do something on their own with the struggles that their offense has had.
Flag. Pass is caught. That's Woods. A flag thrown where you expect a holding call.
Holding number 79, offense. 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Some of the games from earlier today around week number 2. Antonio Brown, officially a New England Patriot, got game action, 4 catches, 56, and a touchdown in a win against the Dolphins. Dak Prescott, impressive again. What a game he had. A divisional win at Washington, and after all the hand-wringing and worry about Garoppolo coming back from a torn ACL and the preseason results, they won easily against Cincinnati, and they're 2-0.
2-0. What, they put up 41 points today, I believe it was, and Prescott only had 4 incompletions. He looked real good.
Pass is caught. Brown short of a first down. San Francisco won that game at Cincinnati 41-17.
Well, right now, we'll see whether or not the Saints are able to make a stop. They've been pretty good defensively on this down throughout the game. Important to keep the Rams from taking more time off of this clock. A lot of penalties for both of these clubs. Just sloppy football.
We're good.
They're challenging them one-on-one.
Goff throws, pass caught, Kupp. Room to run, still going. Cooper Kupp. What a touchdown for the Rams. Brilliant catch and run. "67 yards. And back from the torn ACL.
Well, they decided to bring pressure, and you see one-on-one then across the board with a middle safety, and Kupp gets the ball. He gets inside. They put the ball on him, and he's now one-on-one on the middle safety, and then no chance after that. But he's able to break some tackles and just good, strong running by Cooper Kupp. But Dennis Allen draws the blitz up, and Jared Goff and Kupp make him pay. It should not have been a touchdown. Somebody's got to be able to come up and make a stop.
Making sure the knee was up and not down before that ball broke the front plane of the goal line. And they're going to look at it. Right now it's a touchdown. Either way, big play by number 18, and they are thrilled to have him back. You can see the right knee of Cooper Kupp is down. The ball is not over that
After he's
goal
doing the
line.
play, the runner's knee is down. He's down by contact, and the ball is short of the goal line. It'll be first and goal. Please reset the game clock to 8:56. 8:56 on the game clock.
So back to an 11-point game. First and goal from inches away. Goff keeps, touchdown. Rams add to their lead as they are looking at a 2-0 start. Let's go back to that long catch and run by Cooper Kupp.
When you go one-on-one with these receivers, it's tough on these defensive backs to get the ball into Cooper Kupp's hands quickly. He makes a stiff arm, should have been tackled right there. Marcus Williams is unable to make a play as the middle safety, and then he breaks a few more tackles and carries a few, and then he gets tackled down on the inch line, and that was probably the final nail for the New Orleans Saints.
And Goff clearly in. Right in the back of center Brian Allen. Eight and a half to go. Extra point is good. Aside from the score and the result, whatever the score and the result is we say hello again. I'm Joe Buck along with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. What happened in this first quarter will have ripple effects, really, I think, throughout the rest of the division, throughout the NFC. And who knows the extent of the injury for Drew Brees, but it certainly changes the complexion and the power in the National Football Conference.
Oh, it absolutely does. I mean, this is a team that is expected to contend for the Super Bowl, and rightfully so. They're very talented, and then you take a Drew Brees out of the equation, and yes, they still have a talented player in Teddy Bridgewater, but it's not the same team. It's not the same attack offensively, if you will, without him. There's a look at what happened with that thumb, and we'll find out at some point just what the severity of it is and how long will he be out. But it's going to take everyone within that organization to rally, and in this game, I didn't think that Teddy Bridgewater got enough help from those around him to even be given much of a chance to succeed. They got no running game going. The defense hung in there. They did a nice job, but offensively, they just could not get anything going with Bridgewater under center.
Again for Brees, he's missed one game due to injury in the 13+ years he's been with the Saints. In the Sean Payton era with New Orleans, and Payton's now in his 14th season. The Saints have been held without a touchdown just twice. Week 14 against the Bucs, 2016, Week 12 against Houston in 2015. You know, when we talked to Sean Payton, we talked about Taysom Hill again, he said, I still think he's Steve Young. And that got you kind of chuckling a little bit. He said, I'm telling you, he's the most athletic guy I've been around. And I'm not saying he's going to start next week, but he's definitely in the equation if this offense doesn't start to look any better. Here's another flag against it looks like, this offensive line, and they just cannot block these Rams.
They're always behind the chains. They make a play, and then there's always a penalty, and they get backed up 1st and long, and that's hard. What I would say to that Joe, is if he truly does believe that Taysom Hill is Steve Young, then he should be starting. You know, I mean, because Steve Young's a Hall of Famer. And I know, though, that as a coach, you get spoiled. Sean Payton's has been spoiled by having Drew Brees. Bill Belichick's been spoiled having Tom Brady.
Handoff to Kamara, Fowler with the stop.
There's a lot of coaches around the league that haven't had those type guys at that position, and are hard to win. And I'm sure that now they say, okay, well, let's see how it works out now that you don't have a guy of the caliber of Drew Brees. It's a huge blow, obviously. And you just hope it's not that serious. I love watching him play. And you'd like to see these Saints accomplish the things they're capable of accomplishing.
This one to Thomas. And Michael crosses the 30 to bring up 3rd down as Johnson and Rapp combine on the stop. The combination of Sean Payton and Drew Brees, they've combined for 119 victories. The duo on the left, they're in their own world with Belichick and Brady, and they got another one today, Marino and Shula. But these two guys have been in lockstep since Brees and Payton came to New Orleans in 2006. There's Hill. And Taysom Hill has his first touch from scrimmage. Actually, his second. Johnson on the tackle, a gain of 7 and a 1st down.
Well, you look going forward, we've talked about the Saints schedule, and you know, Bridgewater will be better. This offense will be better. You'd expect him to be. He'll get all the work in practice. So that stands to reason, but to travel on the road for your first regular season start in quite some time in Seattle, that's a tough challenge.
Pass behind, but caught Thomas, and he gets a big hit. Spins for 10, a 1st down. Rapp and Littleton combined for the tackle.
A lot of injuries in this ball game. We talked about Drew Brees, but of course Aaron Donald, he came back and played in this ball game. But the offensive lineman that went down, Andrus Peat, you know, a significant part of this offense as well.
Hey, go right. Hey, quick. Ready.
Bridgewater is nearly picked. Littleton almost had his second. 2nd down and 10. Thomas was the target.
Not much of a shot on this one. Corey Littleton, he was underneath that throw trying to go to the seam, and just don't think it's one thing to practice, it's one thing to play in the preseason, but then you get into live action and the game's a lot faster. And I think the game was played a little faster than Bridgewater could today.
Blitz, and it's just thrown away. There's no receiver there, and that'll be grounding. Pressure by Littleton, and man, did they hit on Corey Littleton.
Intentional grounding, number 5, offense. Quarterback was in the pocket. Ball was thrown to an area where there was no eligible receiver.
You think about the guys that the Rams have added to this roster as free agents, college free agents. That goes on the record of Les Snead, the general manager who was in that spot when they were back in St. Louis. Littleton, a free agent from Washington. The backup running back, Malcolm Brown, a free agent from Texas. They have some on the offensive line. It's good partnership here. Kevin Demoff to Les Snead to Sean McVay. Ton of talent. Bridgewater gets hit as he throws, and the pass incomplete to Taysom Hill.
Kind of seems like the first time in a while for the Rams to have the front office and the coaching staff in lockstep as to what they're looking for with a player. You know, Sean McVay, he knows what he wants, and Les Snead and Kevin Demoff, they're able to go out and get those guys. You think about, there's a look at the owner, Stan Kroenke, and you think about the Rams, where they were the year before Sean McVay took over. I mean, it was in total disarray. They were the worst offense in football, but the talent and the roster on that team almost flipped overnight. That's a credit to all of those people. Not easy to do, but they sure made it look easy.
4-12 the year before McVay showed up. Last in the league in scoring, and they went to first in the league in scoring with a 30-year-old head coach. Natson with the fair catch after a 50-yard punt by Morstead. Aaron Rodgers 2 touchdowns in their win against the Vikings. Kyler Murray, second player all time with 300+ yards in each of his first 2 games. Cam Newton the other. And Russell Wilson just keeps on doing it. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a win on the road in Pittsburgh. Wilson and the Seahawks await the arrival of the Saints for week 3. Gurley, Hendrickson. This front office has it rolling, Aaron Andrews.
Yeah, they do, and an example of them wanting to be known as a team that takes care of their players. You know, we've been talking about Robert Woods. They got a steal for him when they signed him to a 5-year deal back in 2017. And at good, Eric Weddle, thanks so much for interrupting my report. The Rams then rewarded him for his performance and actually gave him a raise. And I talked to Ken Demoff about it, and he said, look, he's a locker room glue guy. We wanted to keep him around. He outplayed his contract. And again, we want to be known as a team that takes care of their guys.
Here's a handoff to Gurley with a cutback. On second down, Gurley gets 9.
I think the feeling amongst the players for the Rams, I think they do believe that. They feel that they do get taken care of by the front office, but just as much by the head coach in the way in which they go about things, the time that he gives them off. We talk about them not playing in the preseason. He rests guys. He takes accountability when things don't go well. But I think it's a place that free agents, they want to come. And for Robert Woods, Joe, you know what I think of him. I'd make the argument that he's the most complete wide receiver in football. He does it all. Didn't have a lot to show for it today, but he's a heck of a player.
Yeah, you had to go onto Twitter with your gloves up to defend that one, but I mean, he's a terrific team guy, not screaming for the football all the time, and he and Brandon Cooks make a wonderful tandem.
You talk about receiving depth. You know, and again, those guys were not on the roster prior to Sean McVay. Of course, Brandon Cooks came in last year, but they go get Robert Woods. They bring in Brandon Cooks, and when they have Cooper Kupp go down last year, and then Josh Reynolds, they got 4 quality wide receivers.
Gurley bounces. And first down, gets a yard. And Josh Reynolds stepped up at 5 touchdown receptions over the final 9 games last year, and he's now back to being buried on the bench behind Kupp, Cooks, and Woods. Next Sunday, full slate of action highlighted by Zeke and the Cowboys taking on the Dolphins, or other regional action. Broncos and Aaron Rodgers in the pack. All coming your way next Sunday on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check local listings for the game in your area. Under 3.5 to go. Second down and 9. New Orleans took a timeout. They have 2 left. Play action looked like Everett was the target, and he couldn't get loose. So Goff swallowed up by the second-year player Marcus Davenport.
We haven't talked about Marcus Davenport much, but boy, he's the guy. They gave up a lot to get him to move up. Gave up this year's first-round pick. Didn't have one. And him. He didn't even have a start last year. He backed up Alex Okafor, but they're going to need big things from him to play opposite Cam Jordan with the pass rush.
3rd down and 17 now. 24-year-old Jared Goff. Hands to Gurley, cuts back. And a timeout taken by the Saints, and with that, we'll check in with Kurt for a game break.
All right, listen closely. Joe Flacco hooks up with Emmanuel Sanders with 30 seconds left against the Bears. They line up to go for 2. They get a delay of game. They go for the extra point. They miss it, but the Bears are offside. So the Denver Broncos decide to once again go for the 2-point conversion. This time, they get it, meaning they now have the lead. 14-13, a wild finish looks like going on in Denver with 31 seconds left on the clock.
Wow, so that's what separates the Bears from an 0-2 start. And the Broncos from a 1-1 start after a loss at Oakland week 1. Pecker hits his best of the game. Deontay Harris spins out of a tackle. That was Hager. Nick Scott is there after a 64-yard punt. Special teams celebrate. They had a rough week last week, and you don't expect that from the Rams. John Fossil. So they had a punt blocked, one tipped. There's a guy they affectionately call Bones.
He's an outstanding special teams coach. You're right. You take that group for granted. Over the years, the job that he has done. It was a tough day to start this season. I was wondering if maybe Sean Payton might go with Taysom Hill here with the clock winding down just to get him a little bit of work in game at quarterback.
This one is through the hands of Jared Cook, and he's had a rough day catching the football. The Saints offense was flagged 9 times today. A lot of that for holding as they tried to contain this pass rush of the LA Rams. Hill stays out there, but not a quarterback.
5 offensive holding penalties, and hard to overcome for anyone. Just when you don't have your quarterback. And it showed. Stalled a lot of drives.
This one is caught by Thomas. That's his 10th catch. A gain of 3. Littleton on the tackle. 10 catches for Thomas last week, 10 today. And we're at the 2-minute warning at the Coliseum. Rams pointing toward 2-0.
It's sponsored by Burger King. Try the all-new Impossible Whopper made from plants only at BK.
2 minutes left in this one. 3rd down and 7 for New Orleans. Saints will go to 1-1, and then the question will be, how bad is the injury to Drew Brees? Bridgewater throws, flag on the play. It looks like the indication is a push off on Thomas.
From what I could see, it certainly didn't look like it was defensive pass interference. Take another look at it.
Number 13, offense. That penalty is declined. It's 4th down.
So it was called on Thomas as he shoved Marcus Peters. 4th down. The punt team comes out. We'll have kneel downs, and then this one will be official.
On this Saints team, you know, how are they going to regroup? We talked about the fact that they are playing at Seattle next week. They're flying to Seattle after this game. So they'll, rather than go back to New Orleans, they'll go up to Seattle, and that's always a little bit different when you're training in a different place, staying in a hotel all week long. And, you know, what kind of work week will that look like?
Boy, it is a crazy finish to that game that we just got the highlight from with Curt Menefee, the Bears and the Broncos. And they're going to be talking about that. But from what I'm told, the Bears won the ball game. They got downfield. They got a timeout with 1 second left. And they win it. Yep, 16-14. Pinheiro hits the field goal. So they're 1-1, and Vic Fangio and the Denver Broncos are 0-2. That is just a killer home loss. Jared Goff closes this game 9 of 10 for 167, a touchdown pass, a touchdown run. And it's just the third time under Sean Payton that the Saints don't score a touchdown. And the big reason why, especially if you're just joining us, is the injury to Drew Brees. We welcome in a new audience. I assume you were just watching that thrilling ending from Denver. Bears get the win. What a win. Here, if you're just joining us, this is the big story of the day in week 2. Drew Brees with a thumb injury when his hand banged into the hand of Aaron Donald. Then they blew a play dead that should have been returned for a touchdown. Basically took points off the board for the New Orleans Saints on what was ruled an incomplete pass. Instead, it was a fumble by Goff. But the Rams have taken over in this second half, and there's your final 27-9. And Sean McVay and the Rams start 2-0, the defending NFC champions. The OT presented by Lowe's is coming up momentarily. Goff and this offense really came alive in this second half.
Well, they got it going a little bit. Yeah, I think they were able to capitalize on the ineptitude of the Saints offensively, and can they continue to keep it going? The Saints, we'll find out how long Brees is going to be out, but that staff, Sean Payton and company, they got their work cut out getting that team ready to go next week.
Home opener for the defending NFC champion Rams. The fans here go home happy. Back after this.